Yo, what's up, guys? It's Talon. Today we're going to be coaching a Yone jungle player. So if you guys are interested in getting coached by me, a rank 5 sovereign autofill player, just DM me on Discord, Talon1169, or through the link in the description. It's now $25 an hour instead of 15 for coaching. We basically just go over 2 replays. There's info in the description, everything like that. This video is going to kind of be focused on playing scaling junglers and stuff like that. Some of the scoreboard things at the top are kind of cut off, but it's mostly about the macro and understanding the game anyway. So I thought I'd still upload this because I think it's valuable for anyone who kind of plays more scaling junglers and kind of understanding how to do that and everything like that. So yeah, let's get right into the video. I hope you guys enjoy. Your peak rank, like your current rank, that type of thing.
My peak rank was Grandmaster last season, and right now I'm Diamond 4. I'm like flirting between Diamond and Emerald every time. If
Okay.
you remember, if you remember, I was a one-trick Wukong, but
Yeah.
since the last patch, I switched to Yone because I just like him more. But I'm feeling that Wukong now his clearing is so slow because he got a lot of auto attacks and this got nerfed with this patch, and also Wukong himself got nerfed. So which is why I'm like switching with Yone, and I'm choosing Yone also because I like his wave clearing, and also his jungle clearing is getting very fast between the mid game and end game.
Yeah, I would say he is really slow clear early though. This is
Yeah,
quite.
really slow.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just an issue you deal with playing this type of champ. I would definitely say I do think Wukong's stronger than Yone. I mean, I don't care what you play. You play whatever you want to play, but I think he is still a stronger champ overall. First thing, small thing is you start Gromp. I'm assuming that's because you found it's like a lot quicker or something for the clear.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, I think I've told you this before. I've coached you before, right? Or am I?
Yeah, you have.
You're the one who before I was talking like the same thing with like the Wukong about like if you start Q or E and you were telling me like it was actually faster, right? That's you? I'm just remembering.
Yeah, that was me.
I'm just trying to remember because sometimes I forget. So I mean again, I prefer starting blue buff because blue buff takes longer to respawn, which means your second clear, your blue buff is going to spawn closer to your other camps, which means you don't have to spend as much time on that side. But if you clear your Gromp first, you end up having to wait a lot longer on that side of the map, which then makes it harder to set up for dragon because you're later to the dragon. So for me, that's a big deal, and that's something that I value. So I recommend doing that. It's not like the end of the world if you start Gromp, because if you do start Gromp, there's a chance you can get a third Gromp before the last objective, but it's really close, or before the first objective, but it's really close. It's pretty hard to do, so I don't really recommend that. Here, you should immediately just run the hell away as soon as you see a level 5 buy. So that was just kind of
exactly. Yeah, I saw it too late.
She also should have ulted you and then you would have died, but she ulted the wrong person. This is good for us. But yeah, when you're playing a slow clear speed jungler, main thing you have to understand, because it is different than Wukong, who's not as slow and is a lot stronger early game. When you're playing a late game jungler with a slow clear speed, your goal is to avoid people as much as possible and to basically not fight. So you're going to just do the exact thing you did here, which is full clear. But then every full clear, you're going to do one. You're going to go look at Scuttle. If Scuttle's taken, you run away, you recall, you buy your boots, you go other side. If Scuttle's not taken, obviously you can take it. And obviously if you see a level 5 jungler, which, how's he actually level 5? I guess it's because you're so slow and clear.
But I'm so slow. It's 2 minutes 10, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, that's what, I'm not used to this slow of a clear, yeah. But yeah, so you see a level 5 jungler, you see Scuttle's taken anything like that, immediately just back off and recall. You're spending way too much time here, and you see how much you try to go and fight him for no reason. Obviously, it doesn't work out. Pretty straightforward. You can kind of see why that's a mistake, so we don't need to go that deep into that. But yeah, so that's the first thing. It ends up kind of screwing us over, but yeah. My
question about that is, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the Emerald and Diamond Elo are like 24/7 fighting. Yeah, and if I'm never participating in this fight, they would lose every fight and they will get tilted and just insult me and everything. So we just lose the game because of the mentality, you know?
So I'll tell you from personal experience, I did this thing where I try to get challenger on 5 roles, on every account. So when I was first learning jungle, I completely sucked at jungle. The way I played it, so this was in low ranks. This was like plat, emerald, diamond, so the exact ranks you're talking about. I played in these ranks, and my main issue was I was trying to play for my teammates because I was worried about them constantly fighting. Every time that they would die, I would do everything I can to make them not die. I would try to make their lanes really easy, whatever. And then I switched to Camille jungle. As we know, very slow clear speed. She was stronger, than Yone is right now. She was really strong at that time, but still, really slow clear speed, really bad early game. And all I would do was farm. I get to a certain point in the game, I'm completely just able to 100% carry every game because I'm strong enough, and because in low elos, the enemy junglers and whatnot are super inefficient. Even if my teammates end up dying, I'm playing a scaling champion, I can carry the game. So from personal experience, in these exact ranks, I have been able to play as I'm telling you to play. It's worked out very well. If you want to play in a way for your laners a lot harder, lock in a Mumu, lock in Vi, lock in Jarvan, any supportive slash tank slash engaged jungler, and then you can be a bit more leaning towards looking for the ganks, looking for the early skirmishes, but don't do it on Yone. Like you're a shit early clear, so you're gonna be down in gold, you're gonna be down in levels, all that stuff, right? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And then again, this problem here, I think we've talked about this before, and this is the big issue with early or with bad clears again. So again, a Camille jungle is my most played jungler overall. Champion I have a lot of experience on, and this is a really hard issue I have when I go from playing Vi with a fast clear to like Camille, and it's the same thing going from like Wukong more early game whatever to Yone, is you end up screwing yourself over because you're inefficient, like I said, and then you don't get recalled in time. And now look at where it is. It's 5:10. It's really blurry, but it's like 5:10. So objectives have been spawned for 10 seconds, and you're going in base buying gold. And the main reason for this is because you didn't properly plan setup for this objective. So as soon as you cleared this, for example, you should have just recalled and then got your red buff on the way back, and then you can go towards the objective right after. But instead, what you end up doing, you clear this, you clear red, you run all the way back to base, and you're wasting so much time. Like, there's no way it should take you this much time. So we need to understand when we have really slow clear, absolutely, like the 100% priority is get those camps, because it's really hard to get a full or 2 full clears off as these slow clear speed junglers on like a champion like Wukong or whatever. You have to just value that a lot harder, value setting up for that first objective, and then again prioritize trading. So if the enemy is going topside like they are, you would have just ran dragon. Just you're okay with just getting dragon because we're just trying to get something. We're just trying to get through the early game. So like you just need to have that mindset a lot more. I'm just trying to get my own gold on Yone. I'm trying to prioritize that rather than all of this kind of constant fighting, like that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
And I am fine with you going for this dragon, like once you saw their low and everything. So I don't mind, like at this point, the decision you made to go here. I just mean more so like setting up, beforehand. We kind of have to understand, or going for the herald. I mean, but yeah, like that's the main thing. It's just kind of understanding we need to trade a lot more, prioritize farming a lot more, and then play around like certain timers for ganks. Because as a champion was so clear, it's not like you can't gank. You just have to be very intentional about when you're ganking. So for example, the first time you're going to be able to find a gank is level 5, right? Like that's a pretty good gank timer for your champion. So if you're going to hit level 5 after scuttle, so either you do, full clear and you get the scuttle on the side that you end up on, and then maybe you can look for a quick gank before you recall, or you do what I said before, where you see the enemy jungles there and then you just recall before getting scuttle. You get topside scuttle and then you look for a gank there. But that's going to be the first time you're really going to get a gank off. You're not going to get a gank off before that. And then probably after you do one more full clear, so after you do that gank, you're going to clear whatever side you started on, and then the other side is going to start spawning again. So you go to that side, you clear that, and then you go maybe one more gank, and you're probably going to get max 2 ganks off before the objective. And yes, you're right. Sometimes your laners, they're going to constantly fight. You're not going to be able to control that. We just have to kind of accept that. Like I said, lock in a different champ if we want to be able to control that a little more. Otherwise, just understand, like, our champion can be really strong and can carry, but we just have to play around what our champion actually wants. Because even when you have 3 kills at this point in the game, you're not that strong. Like, you're 3-0-3, she's 3-2-0, the Vi. I think you're up 200 gold on her. Like, that's not... And, like, your laners are doing pretty well, too, like, in this game, Like, it's not really anything to do with much of your decision-making that led to this game being a win. Like, you're playing fine, But if your laners were bad this game and you made the same decisions, you would have just lost. And even you should have been punished harder if the Vi, played properly on the first scuttle. Like
this is how I feel every game with Yone. That's right, definitely. It depends. I really rely on my laners.
Yeah.
If they're bad, then everything goes bad.
And that's the first thing. Yone is not that strong of jungler right now, and that is just something we have to accept. But you can climb on him. You just have to be really like, if you want to. So we've said we're very reliant on laners. So let's think then. If we're playing a really gank fight heavy style, when we have worse laners, we're probably going to still lose most of the fights because the enemy jungle is going to be stronger early, probably going to get as many, if not more, ganks off because they're stronger, clear early, better early. And then our laners are going to lose because, they're weaker, so we're going to lose those fights. Then we probably lose. Or our laners are a decent amount better, they're winning their lane, they're pretty strong, and then if we go and we fight, we win. But then the other option is we just play to farm. And so if your laners are already doing better and you play to farm, they're probably gonna be at worst like roughly even gold, and then you're gonna scale up because you're really strong. And then if your laners are a lot worse, you farm up, you scale, you still have a win condition, which is you know, at least you're going to be strong. So basically, regardless of kind of how good or bad your laners are, you're still going to win most of the games where your laners are better, and then now you're going to have an actual chance to carry when your laners are worse, instead of, again, like we said, everything could have gone wrong if this Vi wasn't awful. All she had to do was click her ultimate on you, and then the entire thing would be completely different. 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, I heard someone banging, but it turns out they're just hammering in something, and I thought they were knocking on my door. But anyways, does that all make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let me know if you hear the banging, because I can't tell how loud it is. But
No, I can't hear it now.
all right, that's good. I'm back home now from my dorm. I just got home, so now it's louder.
Oh, cool. But
Yeah.
you're going in Europe in like maybe 2 weeks, or?
I'm not going anymore. I was, but now I'm not. So now I'll just be staying home for the summer. So.
Okay.
But yeah. Also, you're going Magnetron. That's interesting. Weren't you going
Yeah,
on
I'm
Wukong
just...
too? I think you were.
Yeah, yes, I
Yeah.
did. This thing
I
is
feel
fun.
like on Yone,
But
I don't see any value in it. You have E and ult, like you don't really need the gap close. Like, what's really the thought process?
I actually don't. I just find it
It's just
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
just fun.
Fair
That's why.
enough, you know. I wouldn't recommend it, but if it's fun, it's fun. It
I
is a
wouldn't.
cool
I wouldn't
champ.
recommend it to.
Yeah. But here, yeah, I mean, it works out.
But I remember this game. I regret, and I'm changing for QSS because just to
yeah, this
avoid.
game QSS is
my
very
ult.
valuable for sure.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yes.
there's a Vi or anything.
Mm.
I mean, you play all the fights. Again, like, your mechanics are always pretty good, too. I think, like, how you play these fights, everything like that is fine. I don't really have issues with that. Even this was, like, really, really clean. Yeah, it's just the main thing in the early game, because, like I said, we're seeing a game that ends up going well. Which is why I think you want to play Yone, because you think he's fun, so you're not going to switch. And so if we're not switching, we want to make sure we understand kind of the play style of that. And the other thing is...
That's something.
What's up, sorry?
That's something. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
And this was, that was interesting. It is what it is.
So here, can you tell me if it's a good choice? I wanted to die actually because I had a bounty on my head and I wanted the support to kill me. So
no, that's
make
an
sure
awful
that...
choice. No, that was a really bad choice. I mean, so it's always bad. Even if this was a Lulu, I would still say it's a stupid choice. Because not only sure, you're giving your shutdown to someone less valuable, but the first thing is we're wasting our time that we could have farming or creating more gold for ourselves. So you being dead, like, okay, so a good gold per minute for a jungle is 1,000, right? So you're dead for 20 seconds. All of a sudden, you're not generating 333 gold if you're at 1k gold a minute. Obviously, like, it's not exactly how it works, but you understand. You're losing out on gold. You're probably losing a minimum of 100 gold. Because, for example, a wave might go uncleared. Or every second that your jungle camp's not cleared, a jungle camp takes, on average, about 2 minutes to spawn. You know, small camps 150, buffs 230, on average 2 minutes. They give 150 gold. That's over a gold a minute. So, or a gold a second, rather. So every single second you're not clearing those camps, which again, now we're 20 seconds where we're not clearing any camps. You could clear 2 camps within that time frame. That's 20 seconds in that 2 camps that wouldn't be cleared. Like, you're losing out on a significant amount of gold, 40 plus gold minimum, which again adds up over time if you do those dumb things. So the first thing is losing out on some gold for yourself. Second thing is, it's a fucking Seraphine with Loot and Secco and mana boots. She's carrying. She has the most gold in the game. You didn't give her enough gold for, like, she already had the most gold in her team. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Vi was, like, even with her before she got your shutdown. So she's the carry. Like, you're right. You should be worried about her. She's an important champion. It's not like she's just some random Lulu. But does that make sense? Why it's not really a good choice?
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
And yeah, you also could get invaded too, you know, hypothetically, right? Obviously you don't here, but that's also a possibility. So I don't really ever recommend purposefully dying, unless, like, you're dying for a turret and you're also like, okay, I'm just going to give my shutdown to the Lulu and I'm getting a turret out of it, you know, that type of thing. But that's not the case, obviously, here, right? So, I mean, the enchant might have got you this kill. Helped you close the gap a little.
Yeah,
so.
it helps. I think on the next game it helps a lot more. Yeah. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm assuming everything here should be straightforward. The only other thing that I wanted to mention as well is when you're playing these types of champs as well, the ganks that you do get need to be a lot more valuable, which means like taking additional gold from the gank, or taking like turrets, taking, you know, waves afterwards, stuff like that. And in this situation, I don't like, this is the time where I don't mind as much greeting. Obviously, you know, in hindsight, we look at it, you shouldn't have gone for it because you know the enemy are kind of coming from being respawned, right? But in this case, I'm more okay with being a bit greedy. There's no objective up. You're getting a turret out of it. Worst case, you die and give away 300 gold. You don't have your shutdown anymore. So I really don't mind like this situation. Obviously not great, but not a big deal. So
About the game, my usual problem, you will see it on the two games, is when Baron and Elder spawns.
yeah,
I always get I don't know, a loss of concentration or focus.
yeah.
So I don't know I don't really know how to deal with Elder and Baron. I'm always trying to trading with the enemy by invading in their jungle and just poking them a bit, but I end up being poked a lot more than I did to
You
them.
get caught out or something like that.
Yeah, or I'm just too low health to just keep on with the Baron or the
Yeah.
Elder.
Okay. We'll look into that. I would say main thing is the first 12 minutes of the game are pretty much all about getting gold. So that for the next 6 minutes, you know, 12 minutes when Baron spawns to 18 when Elder spawns, you're gonna be as strong as possible so you can fight more. So like basically you want to be prioritizing a lot less of your farm at that point and starting to prioritize a lot more getting control over the objectives so that you can like be in a position where it's harder for the enemy to poke you out, which means like sweeping, you know, get vision around that area a bit earlier than when the enemy might be there. Invading is only going to be something you'll really do if your team, like, you know, the enemy aren't, you know, in a position to follow up, or you know you can win the fight. Not something I want you like invading just for the sake of invading, I guess. I mean, we'll look at, you know, this specific situation. But basically it kind of comes down to controlling mid wave as well a lot more, like pushing that wave out rather than, again, prioritizing your camp that's on like the dragon side. You're only really going to grab dragon side camps if there's like no other thing for you to be doing at the time and you know the enemy aren't possibly going to get the objective. And so like even here, this is kind of the first little issue, is a lack of control of the mid waves just because you're the jungler. Like, just because you're the jungler doesn't mean you can't farm. So in this case, for example, you have a gold bounty on your turret, right? So when you have a big lead, you need to make sure that your mindset no longer goes to furthering your own lead, but just protecting your lead until these key objectives come up. Because again, at this point, how are you going to probably end the game like with this lead? What do you think you're going to have to like do?
To take Elder and Baron.
Yeah, pretty much. And obviously before Elder spawns, maybe you grab a Baron earlier if you get a kill. And so your goal, like you said, is to get as strong as possible before that Elder, right? And so, or at least to be as far ahead of your opponent as possible. And so what you're basically trying to do at this point, you're not trying to somehow take this inhib. Like, that's really hard, right? Pretty unlikely you're going to do that. But what's completely realistic is protecting these mid and this bot turret, right? With gold bounties on it. But if you give up these turrets for free, that makes the enemy have a chance of coming back. And then all of a sudden, okay, they got your gold bounty. Not the end of the world. They got one turret. It's fine. But then you go and you die one time. They get Elder or Baron or whatever. All of a sudden, the game's over. And so you're basically just trying to protect these turrets. And what you end up doing here is kind of like walking back, looking for a trade here. You see how even though you're super ahead, look at where your team is, by the way. They're all nowhere near. And we're going in 1v3. Like, imagine Varus right now ulted you. Like, he could ult you right now, and you would die. Like, that's what could happen. It doesn't in this case, but it could. And even if that's not even like the important part. The important part is they're clearly prioritizing mid right now. All you need to do is just focus on that wave. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is in the mid game, once this Baron, these types of objectives are spawning, especially when you have a lead, your goal is just get control over the waves, typically mid wave, by pushing out the mid wave, and then you go to the side lane right after. Or you rather, not the side lane, you go to the side of the objective, like the river side of the objective. So you would hover, you know, the Baron side, or you would farm your blue buff, you know, that type of thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so yeah, I think they're also mid here as well now. But yeah, what's up?
I don't know if you noticed, but with Yone, I'm never using the red trinket. I'm always having a ward with me.
Yeah.
Because I just like to put vision. Do you think it's a bad choice or?
So there's this jungler called Smash. He's like a really good jungler. I would say he's better than me at jungle. He's the only person who's ever coached me ever, and he takes yellow wards, like always. He just loves it on jungle. He likes getting the extra vision, especially when he's playing aggressive junglers like Talon and whatever. And he tells me he thinks it's way better. I don't agree. I think having the vision, like having the control over the objective, that type of thing, the vision control is more important because usually my teammates are going to have wards anyway. So basically what I'm telling you is it's honestly up to you. It's not the end of the world. If you think it's more valuable to get vision of the enemy rather than preventing their vision, that's up to you. I really don't care.
Okay.
That's not something I'm going to be super like, yeah, one way or the other about.
All right.
What I am worried about is you again going super aggressive when your teammate's on bot and your other teammate's here and another teammate's dead. You only have one teammate even nearby. And again, the second time in a row that you've done this. And the good thing is this is extremely easy to improve on. The thing is, you said focus feels like your kind of problem. The way that you can deal with focus, and I've had players who have these issues before, and usually when I coach them, it's a lot easier for them to climb if they actually take it seriously. Because a lot of them, like, you play games, you know, for fun, right? You're after work, you're tired, whatever. Some people get high after. Like one guy, I literally just had to tell him to stop smoking weed while playing, and like that helped him a lot because he would just fucking not be focused. And so the point is, find a couple key questions to ask yourself during the game, and kind of remind yourself of those things throughout the game. So what I'm gonna write, we'll write these down, you know, as in the notes at the end, is I want you to pay attention to certain times in the game, and I want you to ask yourself, what do I want to do within the next minute? And so I want you to ask yourself at 4 minutes in the game, you know, 1 minute before objective spawns, what's my plan for the next minute? Do I want to clear this side of the map, recall, go to an objective? Which objective do I want to go to? Is my top lane stronger? Is my bot lane stronger? Do I want to avoid like that type of thing, right? And then the other kind of key time is going to be Baron. So it hits 11 minutes now, 12 minutes when Baron spawns. 11 minutes, I want you to start thinking to yourself, okay, I need to start getting my final clear off before Baron spawning. I need to push out the waves on the opposite side so that when I can recall, I'll be ready for Baron so the enemy can't sneak it initially and I have control over that side of the map. I want to start getting vision around there. And then once we get to 12 to 18 minutes, every time that you're thinking about fighting, I want you to ask yourself, where is my team? And where are the enemy team? It's very simple. Like, it's obviously anyone can do this, but most people don't ask themselves those questions before going in. And I know 100% if you were thinking, again, anytime from 12 to 18 minutes, you're just asking yourself, whenever you're thinking about going in, all you do, just take a quick look at your map and then decide. That's all I want you to do. I think that's completely reasonable. I think you could definitely do that. And it'll also just improve your focus in general. So that's really the main thing, because we've seen that now multiple times. Like here, I think you go in a second. I don't think you die or anything, but it's like, again, kind of, or it was maybe a second ago, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just died and I tried to. So that was dumb.
Like this, and
this is the poke that I'm trying to that I was telling you when Baron is here, just to get them low. But the thing is that my laners are good, so it ends up. Yeah, it worked. But if
we see
they're
how
bad,
risky it is too. It's like you're gonna win this game, like I said, if it just progresses naturally, right? Like you don't need to do anything special, but instead you decided to completely flip the game. Like imagine you died there. You were very close to dying. Imagine you just did die there. Someone got one, even now, right? So the enemy could get Baron and you lose the game. Like again, your laners are better, so you're not quite gonna get punished that hard. But this is completely a game-losing play, and I'm sure you've had the games where you do this and then you do lose off it. We've all done it. I've had it happen. Nobody never has it, but it's something you can avoid a lot with these questions that I'm kind of talking about. And yeah, all of a sudden now the goal gap's 5k. You guys were up 7k like 2 minutes ago. Like the way that snowballing should work in the game is your gold lead should constantly increase, because obviously the more gold you have, the stronger you are. So like it's a very snowbally game, Wild Rift is. And so if you're playing properly, your gold lead should only go up and up, but like very slightly. But yours goes from 7k to 5k. And also, the gold gap being 5k early game is a lot more, valuable than 5k late game, because 5k late game is a smaller percentage of the overall gold share in the game. And so not only are you going down in gold, you're possibly losing, you do actually lose a Baron here. And so we pretty much see the exact things, that we were kind of talking about, which is good. We can see the exact issue from this game. It's very straightforward. I don't know, do you actually lose this game or do you win?
No, we win it, but
you can see how it's kind of,
it should be easy win, but it was just a hard game and it went too long. And
I mean, now you're only up 3k gold at this point too. Like it's even less and less, and then yeah, a lot of times you end up coming back anyways, because usually if your laners were good enough, you're just gonna win the game because they'll still be good enough even if you make a throw. But these are definitely the things to avoid. So I just want you asking yourself those basic questions, and again, prioritizing the efficiency again, because we can see like our laners are just better than the enemy. They were probably gonna win their lanes anyways most of the time. Like when I lane against a random Master Peak player, I'm gonna beat him in lane most of the time, even if I get camped by enemy jungle, like 95% of the time. Unless there's a really like, unless the skill's really close, you know, it's like, I don't know, unless like, let's say Lemont is laning against starting, like maybe jungle can impact them because they're very close in skill, you know. But like most of the time, it's either like one laner or the other is just gonna be pretty significantly better than the other. And yes, obviously, I'm not saying never gank them, but I'm saying most of the time you're going to want to prioritize yourself first because they're usually going to either win or lose their lane regardless, just because that's how ranked goes most of the time. Again, I think of my kind of teammates as sort of like NPCs, and I'm more just like prioritizing my own self above everything else. And then every once in a while, you see like a certain person's really carrying, you play harder around them. But all that aside, does that all kind of make sense? Do you have any questions on that or anything?
No, absolutely, absolutely. So maybe one question. So at 12 minutes, when there was the Baron and Xai was dead and Fizz was on top side,
Yeah.
what I should have done is just pushing the wave, doing my own blue camps on top side, and
So
that's it.
we'll just go back to the situation. When was Xayah? Was Xayah dead a little after this? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute after this.
Yeah, we'll find the situation.
This is
Yeah,
where she
so
dies.
yeah, here, yeah, so she dies. So yeah, like at this point, all you do exactly, you're sitting, you just farm your blue buff, and then you're like, say you had no blue buff as well. So yes, if you have your blue buff, you can just farm your blue, pretty much chill. And then the main thing you're trying to do is just prevent the enemy from Baron. So you would just sit in this bush afterwards. Like you could go farm your camps, and then you just sit in the bush or make sure you have vision so you know the enemy aren't starting it. And also, like in this case, you have your Fizz on the side. So if you're just sitting here waiting, like your Fizz is going to eat up, you know, their resources. They're eventually going to have to recall as well. Like we see like Vagar having to go. So yeah, you would pretty much just hover here. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so then I'll go back to wherever. Were we a little? I don't remember where.
Maybe you can go forward. I think until Elder, maybe at 18 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that's
I mean,
where you
I
can
don't
get
think
it.
I don't think we saw this death. Did we?
Oh, that was a stupid one. I was trying to protect Zaya.
Oh yeah, no, this is a situation I wanted to talk about though. So it's the same thing after your teammates died. I don't remember the dragon score right now. Do you know what the dragon score is? I kind of forget. But we have at least one dragon. We 100% have at least one.
It's
And so,
1-on-1.
yeah, if it's 1-on-1, this dragon doesn't mean fucking shit. And two of your teammates are dead, and the enemy has Baron, and there's a Baron pushing your side lane, and you're half health, and your teammates half health, and you know the entire enemy is alive. So where should you be right now? I'm kind of, you know, it's pretty right. Where should you be right now?
On top side.
Yeah, exactly.
Top side.
And so it's the same thing. You ask yourself, like, imagine you were in this situation. Your thought right now is, I want to go on Mundo. He's low. Imagine when you asked yourself that question, or when you thought about going on him, you just asked yourself really quick, where's my teammates? That's all you had to do, and you're gonna realize, yourself, it doesn't make sense to go in. Again, instead we end up going in, I think, and dying or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also, yeah, QSS. I mean, then you maybe would have at least been able to live that. But
I'm just trolling with Magnetron. But I wanted to protect Xayah, and I thought maybe Fizz could do something, but definitely it was a bad choice.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, if we look at it, like, your Xayah is already, like, out. Like, you're not protecting anything. Like, I get that might have been what you were thinking at the time, but if we're looking at it realistically, we're not protecting anything. She's completely safe. Like, she's all the way back there. She's safe. And Fizz is not really, even in a position to go forward right away. So that might be the thought process, but we're not really paying close attention if that is the thought process. Which, again, yeah. I do these things too. It's not like I never do that. But it is, definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised you win at this point. It kind of looks like we're, like, in a losing spot. Maybe you kill him here.
I think two of them die here.
Yeah.
Maybe Seraphine. Here I flashed on the Seraphine. Should I just stay on Mundo?
I like to play him.
Okay.
100%.
Because Wukong was my strong laner, and I just give up on him just to get a kill on Seraphine.
No, I think it's fine because you were gonna kill Mundo after. Like, you kind of knew you were gonna kill Mundo after. I mean, like, it's really, I wouldn't have, like, pointed it out either way. Like, I think really either choice is fine in that case because Mundo's really low, but also Seraphine, you might not kill her right, like, because she could just start running away. So you're kind of killing her right away. Plus she's squishier, she's easier to kill, and Mundo a lot of times can randomly heal up. But this is, again, just what doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get that the enemy are dead. You're probably not gonna die, but like you have 15 seconds until or 18 seconds until Elder, and we're going on the opposite side of Elder right now, farming a random red buff that we're not gonna spend the gold on. Because if you spend this gold, that means that then you don't get to set up for the objective, which is bad. So either you spend this gold that you don't need, and again you're on the wrong side of the map, or you're just not setting up for the objective of time. But either way, it doesn't really make sense. And then here again, like look how risky this is. I think you actually do it. You do die here. But
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
yeah, like look how unnecessary right before Elder. So again, it's those certain timers. All you had to ask yourself, again, I think 100% you would know the answer to the question if you just ask yourself, where should I be right now? Where are my teammates? What's the goal? You know, what am I trying to do? Like, just ask yourself, what's the goal in the game at this point? Your goal in that game was obviously, at that point, get Elder, right? Like, set up for the Elder Dragon. But we were on the opposite side of Elder, right when it was about to spawn. Really risky for no reason. And so, yeah, I have no idea how you actually win at this point. This should just be a loss at this point. But
We were blessed. I don't know what happened.
yeah, that's kind of crazy. Does your team just... Oh, damn. Yo, your Fizz is the GOAT, bro. Okay.
Yeah, it was really
Fizz.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's good, though, because we have very simple issues to kind of solve. But what's up? Yeah, go ahead.
So when there is Baron and Elder spawning at the same time, you would still go to Elder first, prioritize Elder?
So when there's Baron and Elder spawning, there's a couple different scenarios. So the first scenario is your team is losing, and you know if you fight, you're going to die, right? Like, it's just obvious. You're down like 5, 10k gold, you're going to die. So in that case, your goal is to get the other one. You know, if the enemy are going Elder, you get Baron. If they're going Baron, you go Elder. You know, just go wherever they're not going. So that's the first case. Second case is you're ahead. In the case that you're ahead, you want Elder first because you use Elder to get Baron. The only issue is, what if the enemy get Baron, right? And so to alleviate that issue, you set up beforehand by warding the objective. And so all you would have had to do here, for example, go back to...
when I was on red buff, I should have just...
All you could have done, yeah, you have a ward here. You just ward the Baron. You ward the Baron, then you go drag, or you go drag. That's all you do. That's simple. So yeah, if we're ahead, we want Elder, but we want to make sure that the enemy don't sneak Baron. If behind a lot, then we want to try to opposite side sneak. If we're like pretty close but a little behind, we probably just fight the Elder, because it's just like we hope we get the smite or we hope we win the fight. You know what I mean? So that's the general approach that we should have. And then at this point, I don't know if going for a full health Mundo makes that much sense. I get that we're kind of... I mean, like, your champ does a good amount of damage at this point in the game, so maybe it kind of is fine. But yeah, I guess it's close. That champ is so tanky.
Absolutely, yeah.
You should definitely be backing off at this point, though. You shouldn't be like...
About that, with Yone, should I, when there is like three tanks, is Sundered Sky a good thing? Mortal Reminder.
Sky is solid on him. I would say it's usually an item I might grab. Or Sundered Sky. Sorry, I was thinking Divine Sunder. No, Sundered Sky, no. Divine Sunder.
Divine Sunder. Yeah, I'm in Divine Sunder. Sorry.
You meant, okay, yeah. So yeah, Divine Sunder. Yes, you could grab that later when they have a lot of HP. I wouldn't grab it first or second item. If you're playing lane, sometimes people go it earlier. If you're like laning a Heartsteel champ. But yeah, if we're like jungle, maybe fourth or fifth item you grab it. If they're like multiple Heartsteel champs or something like that. So even here again, like I don't mind prioritizing mid, but we don't need to prioritize mid further at this point. Like the way we're typically going to approach it, we make sure we get mid pushing, and then we start going into jungle to get control, and then like we come back out to grab it. But going up like this far is like a little risky. It's not the end of the world though. Like I at least like that we're prioritizing a wave over like you know, just going on the objective right away. But yeah, that's like a small thing.
So this fight wasn't a bad choice. So it would be a bad choice if the team was even.
Your team was in a good spot to fight. Like that's the thing is, your Mordekaiser, your tank was already pushed forward. Like your team was in a position to follow up, and we see the fight is won, right? Like it's actually pretty straightforward. Pretty much every fight that you fought on even terms this game, you won. You only really lost fights that happened because you were, you know, going forward way too far too early, or maybe your teammates were like someone was going, you know, basically getting caught right away. So 100%. Like that's the other thing too, is you can take a lot of these riskier plays where you do go for a 50-50 where maybe you're going to win the fight, maybe you're going to lose, and it's risky if you're behind. Because if you're behind, you have nothing to lose. You're probably going to lose the game anyway. You might as well take a risky fight if you see an angle. But when you're ahead, it's just like, you chill out, just prioritize the simple play, rather than kind of going for these random fights, because you're a lot more worried about throwing a game or something like that.
And if you're behind, if it's the second Drake spawning,
Yeah.
would you try it or would
No,
you
I would go opposite
rather?
side. Yeah, I would
Oh, okay,
100%
okay.
go opposite side. I mean, it's even like the same thing with this third dragon, where each team had one dragon. At that point, you weren't behind, but some of your teammates were dead, so you're basically behind, right? Because like you have multiple people dead, so you're behind for that short period of time. Also, that was a really weird interaction. But multiple people are dead on your team, so in that case, yeah, you don't fight the dragon, you go opposite side, you try to get caught up. So yeah, 100%. The only time that I'm going to contest an objective when I'm behind is when that objective is extremely important. So if it's a soul, an elder, or a baron. Otherwise,
Oh.
I'm only going to contest it if I think that I'm going to win the fight. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay, I see. And my question about the builds and the runes.
Yeah.
So, lethal tempo. I usually go lethal tempo when there's only one or two tank, but as soon as there's three tanks, I go
Conqueror?
conqueror. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like a huge Yone player to the point that I've tried this super hard. I mean, to me, I would go lethal tempo every game. Like, that's what I think, but I don't think it matters that much in terms of like Conquer versus lethal into tanks. It should be pretty close. You get more AD,
Mhm.
obviously, but less attack speed. So if you're building items that do more to tanks, like, it's kind of not bad to have either. So yeah, to me, it's really not that different, either way.
And my second question, how is it called? The purple sword.
Blade of the Rune King?
Yeah, Blade of the Rude King. Uh, is it good against tanks or is it good
For
against
Yone
everyone?
specifically, it's almost like, generally it's an item that's good versus tanks. For Yone specifically, he uses it most games because it just gives him all the stats. It gives him attack speed, attack damage. The passive works
Mm.
perfectly with him. So for him, it's just an item that fits him basically always. But sometimes you could go an instant Wit's End instead of Blade of the Rune King if they're like mega AP. Maybe, but in jungle it's pretty rare. Unless like if they had like 4 AP, then maybe I would rush Wit's End, but otherwise it's pretty much like Blade of the Rune King.
So and Solari instead of Blade of the Rune King is stupid then.
Well, you could do both. I mean, like, you can still have both. There's no reason why you couldn't. But first item, I would never go Solari because then you get no AD, which kind of hurts you early game.
Okay. All right.
Okay. In this game, then we'll look for kind of similar mistakes. See if we see a lot of the similar things. So even here, this is another thing. If we're thinking about pathing here, Garen Teemo or Tristana, Thresh, Misfortune Set. So Yone, again, if you were Wukong, I would kind of want you to path towards Tristana, Thresh, because they're really aggressive. There's going to be a lot of fighting early game, right? Especially with Misfortune Set. But because we're
Yep.
Yone, we're kind of fine with pathing towards a more safe lane. And that to me would be Garen Teemo. Garen's going to survive pretty easily. Probably going to be chilling in the lane. And there's not going to be a million fights going on. So that's just like something to keep in mind as well, when it comes to pathing, right? But yeah, just generally trying to be avoidant. Like, I'm going to hope that we're kind of seeing you.
Did I give up on the 15-second clearing faster just to get the good pathing?
100%. I would say I would generally give up on a slightly faster clear in order to have my pathing be towards where I want, most of the time. So yeah, like if I was Wukong here, like I said, I'd start red. Because you said like one of your biggest issues you feel is your teammates are fighting constantly and you're not really able to have a lot of impact on that. Well, one of the reasons you can't have impact on that is because you're not anticipating it early enough, If you anticipate it before the game starts, you're pathing towards there. Because again, I could tell you very easily there's going to be a lot of fighting here. We already just saw Misfortune use her flash. We've seen fighting going on constantly in that lane. Like, we could anticipate these things most of the time. And so that's going to put us in a better position to do that rather than like in first blood, like I said. And this is 2 minutes. Like, if we look at the timer, this is almost the exact timer you'd be able to get there. If you were Wukong, you would be there, right? If you're Yone,
absolutely.
pretty much. And like I said, I don't want you going there. It's Yone even. So this is more of a just general point to keep in mind, right? So you can kind of just see, like, I can already pretty much tell you what's going to happen. Obviously, I'm going to be wrong sometimes. Sometimes it turns out that your Thresh and your Tristana will lose lane to a Vayne Yuumi just because, like, fucking people suck, like, things happen. But it's more of a thing we're trying to predict majority of the time. We're not going to be right every single time. But here, I'm assuming you're going to try to look possibly for a dive. onto the Teemo. I don't know if it'll actually end up working out. You should be looking for this.
I
Yeah,
am.
I
I
think you
think
have
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
works.
did work out. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the exact, like, this is pretty much the exact approach I want you having. So, again, you told me sometimes you feel very reliant on your teams. There's going to be cases where your teammates get double killed in top lane or like in dual lane, right? Or whatever happens, or your top laner anyone dies, right? But if you do, because pretty much you did exactly what I would have told you to do so far in this early game, and you got yourself strong at this point. So you had a good start to the game. You can't control the fact that your teammates died really early in the lane. You can't control the fact that even your Garen died to a teammate. Like, you just can't control that. But you can control these types of things, which are leading to at least you being strong. And so even here, I don't want you fighting this. I want you farming all of your blue side, farming all of your red side, and then getting yourself even stronger. Prioritizing a fight like this into an already losing lane against a champion like Aatrox, who's a lot stronger than you early, sometimes results in a kill, oftentimes results in your death,
It's a flip.
and rarely results in like a really beneficial play. You know what I mean? So.
You know, the thing is just about the laners mentality. If I didn't came here and they died already 2 times,
Yeah,
they would be like, just fuck this game, I'm trolling, and let's end it.
that's what you think they
But
would do.
yeah, but this is what they do, because I used to be AFK farming with Yone, and I just told to myself, just gank more and participate in this fight, so that people just don't get tilted at you and you don't
Okay,
get
so
insulted every game. Yeah.
this is like, so a couple things. First off, people are going to run it down whenever they feel like it, anytime anything goes wrong, and they want to find an excuse for it, and they'll find excuses. Watch my stream, you'll see people run it down when I do the strategy that I tell you. You know, they'll also run it down after I gank them. If I accidentally steal one minion on accident with one auto attack, they'll run it down. If I miss an ability, they'll run it down for a number of reasons. They're looking for excuses when they're tilted. You can't control that. You have no way of actually telling when they're going to or when they're not. But when you consistently play a certain style, like, you know, I'm assuming when you tried playing the farm style, you did it for a while, right? You didn't just play it one game and give up.
Mm-hmm.
And so naturally, you're going to have some amount of those games where people will run it down. But do you really believe that you wouldn't have had any of those people? They wouldn't have ever ran it down if you were ganking them a couple times? Like, if, you know, you ganked them
No,
and the
you're
fight
right.
went wrong.
Yeah, they would. They
Yeah.
still would.
And maybe one or two, like, don't get me wrong, once or twice, I agree, they probably wouldn't have ran it down. But you probably would have lost anyways because you're playing a bad style that's still going to put you behind most of the time.
Mm.
And the other thing, though, besides that, which again, like, I understand it feels annoying. The other thing is, it's not like you're going to get less ganks off with what I'm telling you, and that's the thing you don't understand. So let's go look at the timers right now. So the time that you wasted when you decided to go for this gank. So what's the time right now? 3:16 when you could prioritize these two, right? Instead, when's the next time that we're in a position to get these? Or there's actually 3 camps, so you didn't even clear this. So 3:16, it went to 3:45. This took you 30 seconds. It would only take you 30 seconds to clear these 3 camps. So what you could have done, you cleared these 3 camps, you clear your red side, you would have an opportunity to gank this Teemo. So you got 2 ganks off with the playstyle you're doing right now. If you do what I'm telling you, you still get 2 ganks off, but you get the second gank off on Teemo when you're higher health, when your ult is back up, when you're actually stronger overall to fight. Everything, like you're higher level, you could have possibly recalled to spend gold, your cooldowns will be up. In this case, you know, you had ult for the fight, right? But like, just generally speaking, all of these things are true. So you're not actually getting less ganks off, you're getting ganks off at better times in better positions around laners who actually matter more. Like, that's all that is different in this case. Whereas here, now let's look at the time that you're at this point. You have to go back to base, and then you have to go clear your entire red side, which means it's less efficient because you're going one side base, then back to the, you know, red side. Now you don't get to spend this red side gold, and now you're also, look how low Teemo is, by the way. He's half health under his turret with a wave pushing into him. You could dive him, except you can't because you haven't cleared these 3 camps, which again, like we said, you wasted over 30 seconds. It wouldn't take you 30 seconds to clear these camps. You'd already be in a position to gank Teemo, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we
Correct. Yeah.
kind of see why this, you know, like, this is what I'm kind of talking about. And then even here, you're prioritizing your shitter, by the way. Like, your Garen is behind a little bit, but you ganked him, you put Teemo a little bit behind, and it's also Herald, which we've talked about this, right? That Herald's better as well. I think we've mentioned this.
Absolutely.
And so you're not
Would,
prioritizing Herald as well. But yeah, what's up?
no, we didn't necessarily mention it, but absolutely, we said it before.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's all these things. And so again, this works out, and so then it feels good for you. But it wasn't the correct choice. The correct choice is always the consistent play, diving that Teemo, which you 100% would have killed this Teemo. You would have gotten Herald. You'd be in a much better spot. Instead, we're playing around our bad players, and again, it works out pretty well, but it's still not.
I skipped my red buff. Yeah, I skipped my red buff for this. Yeah.
Yeah, you also skip your red buff, exactly. So we are losing out on a lot of that time. It's pretty much just hoping that we get all the kills, that the fights work out. Even when, you know, again, gold-wise, not that great. And then even here, again, you're not even on an objective until 550. Like, go watch my stream, watch me play. Tell me how many times you see me not start an objective within the first 10 seconds of it spawning. Every once in a while, sure. Like, don't get me, it happens, but 50 seconds is the first time we're on an objective is extremely rare. And it's wasting a lot of time that we could be using again to get gold or do a number of other things. And if the enemy jungle is like really good, let's say, they start one objective right away, and then you don't start any until 50 seconds, then you lose out on one objective, and then they're going to contest the other, so you could possibly lose both, which is a common thing that happens as well. And even here, prioritizing the fight when we could just be farming again, just like pretty straightforward. In this case, the fight's not really a bad choice because it's like a fine fight, so I don't mind it as much, and we were dropping the Herald and just taking the fight after. But you can just see all these cases where we just are kind of losing out on a lot of gold, basically. It's like kind of the gist of it. But in this case, like I said, this fight, pretty fine with it overall.
Mm.
And that's the other thing too, is like when I'm talking, like, again, watch my stream, see me play jungle. It's not like I'm never fighting, you know? It's not like this strategy I'm talking about, I'm just literally telling you AFK farm 24/7, that's all you do. It's just about the timers that you're actually making the plays on. You make these plays around things that actually make sense for us. Like, again, around a Herald when we want to prioritize Herald, around our stronger laner who's actually doing well. All these different types of things are on our power spikes as a Yone, a champion who needs gold, who needs items, who needs levels, rather than random fights. And then usually this strategy also eventually leads to us dying. Like, this is kind of insane that you live, by the way. That was fucking clean. But this definitely should have been a situation that we died in. I don't know how... That was fucking crazy, the holy shit. That was actually nuts. But, like, most of the time we should die there. And then we give up a big shutdown, which is another negative of this playstyle. But if you're just faker like that, then, you know, I respect that. Because holy... That was actually kind of clean. God damn.
This is the thing with Yone, and I would never be able to do this with Wukong. But
yeah,
and Wukong is the fighting champion, so
yeah.
I don't
Early
know,
game, Wukong definitely has a lot more like skirmishing and fighting power. Yone is a lot more flashy and has a lot more outplay potential, 100%. And he's a really fun champion, which is why it's definitely like an enjoyable champ. But if you're prioritizing this playstyle 24/7, just as many times as it works out like that, we're going to see the opposite, which is actually a lot of what happened last game, where you made the random ints because you're making such risky plays. Because even this play is on 1 HP, and I don't want to take away from the fact that the play was fucking sick, but again, 9 times out of 10 you're dead there, and then you're giving away 1,000 gold to the enemy because you had a huge shutdown, and it's just not the consistent way to play the game. And that's like the main thing that we need to like basically be understanding. Like even here is just like a really risky fight against a guy where the risk reward is not much for you. Like it's you're worth 1,000 gold. He's probably worth 300. I don't know, but he's probably worth 300. So you're quite literally 3.5 times more valuable than him, almost, right? So like, it's just really risky to take a 50-50, which again, it was a very close fight, when we're worth so much more.
So if you just pause, if you look like now, all my camps are down, and I was thinking this fight, what was the thing to do? Instead of
so
just
when you
fighting
don't know what to do with your time and your camps are cleared, so the first thing is you did have one camp. I think maybe not this time. Maybe. I mean, it was a. No, this one's been up for a while. So you still. The first thing is you didn't prioritize this additional camp. Could have got that first. But when you don't have any camps to do, and you're kind of just sitting around, you don't know what to do. The thing to always look for is turrets to take, because when you don't have a regular objective, you don't have camps. Your next major goal becomes turrets. So in this case, this top lane turret is full health and easy to take, right? So let's say right now you clear this side like you do, you just recall, you go run towards top side, because now if you win a fight top side, you get an entire objective, which is a turret, which is like 700 gold. But if you're staying in this fight, like I said, risk reward here, lose 1,000 gold, gain 300 gold. Risk reward here is get a kill and then a turret, which is 1,000 gold again, or lose 1,000 gold. So it's actually even, you know what I mean? Whereas here, it's 1,000 to 300. So we're looking for the easiest turrets to take, because here you're not really going to realistically get this tier 2 turret if you win this fight, because it's just pretty risky to grab. So basically, you're going to play for outer turrets on the side lanes. Mid lane turrets are a lot more risky, but outer turrets on the side lane usually what we want to look for. And then if we see an angle to fight and there's none of these things, we could maybe go for, you know, a more risky fight. But generally, again, you're just constantly fighting. We can kind of see in their jungle instead of that top side, so you're not getting any value. Luckily, your team ended up getting the turret top side eventually anyway. But again, we're just not really getting anything out of this, even if we did get a kill. The other thing is, like, okay, that's kind of unfortunate, all these traps. But the other thing is, like, even if we did get value out of this fight and win the fight, it doesn't do much for us. Like, you're already really strong in the game. You're already ahead a bunch of gold. Getting an additional 300 gold is not how you win the game. The way you win the game is getting a control of the objectives, which is easier to do by pushing turrets, you know, making sure all the turrets are pushed, because then the waves will naturally push further. By having control over, again, the side of the objective, or the side of the map that the objective is going to spawn on, which again is Baron, in 23 seconds. Not spending so much time in their you know, jungle. So I mean, I think you get the point at this point, right? But
yeah, I need to remember this, because I think this is my main issue.
Yeah. And I think they get dragon off this too. So like, you also lost a dragon.
No, I made the play that was pretty sick. No, see the Magnetron thing. Yeah.
Oh god.
I think
No,
this
that's
one was
actually
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
That was actually, yeah. Dude, you used the Magnetron. Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I used it on the.
Yeah, that was hilarious actually. And see, like, this is, again, all this stuff, and I'm not trying to be negative, but I guess I'm here to coach, so that's kind of like sort of my point, is always kind of be critical. But the fact that you had to do this is the problem. Like, if you even, again, I keep pointing out, you could watch my stream, just because I'm trying to promote my stream as a YouTube video probably. So like, I'm trying to, like, you know, get people to also watch the stream. I'm joking about that,
Yeah,
but
no problem.
either way, you watch my stream, I don't have to make that many crazy outplays a lot of the time, because I'm just putting myself in a position where I'm going to win the fight 95% of the time. It's like the same thing. I watch interviews of this this player's name, Inspired. He's like the best jungler in North America. He's considered pretty in League of Legends, like that, not Wild Rift. And he's pretty much considered the best in all of like the West, Europe, and whatever. And pretty much the way he talks about the game is like, he doesn't need to play mechanically well. He doesn't even practice junglers in his solo queue. He just practices like other roles, just because he doesn't need to practice the mechanics or anything. All that matters is the decision that you make to put yourself in the proper position. And if you make that proper decision, you're going to win 95% of the time, even if you make, you know, you miss a flash or you mess something up. There's no reason to need to make all these incredible outplays or these cool things. It's more fun. So like, if you're just purely playing for fun, then, you know, obviously go for it. But it's usually just kind of not necessary. And if you find yourself having to outplay so much, you're probably going to, like, it probably just means you're making a lot of mistakes, basically. Because even there's a player named Spark Hates in North America, and he pretty much plays like you, and I hate him because he plays like you. Like, I always get mad at him because he'll just go for all these like outplays, and he'll make really stupid plays. So yeah.
So if I just get a better macro, I don't need to do all that fancy stuff. That's what you're saying.
Well, yeah, and then the cool thing is, it doesn't mean you're never going to get to do this, because it's also like, I still sometimes have these cool outplays or whatever. It's just, you only do it when it's necessary, or again, when you're behind. Like, again, if you win for all these crazy things when you're down 3k gold, and you know, like, the only way I'm winning is if I do make some fucking crazy outplay, because Elder Dragon just spawned, and we either win this fight or we lose the game, then that's when you got to rely on that type of stuff. But you don't need to rely on that type of stuff when you're up 7,000 gold, and all you have to do is progress the game naturally in order to win, basically.
You know, this game is just the same as the last one, because we always be winning at the start, but then I just lose focus, and I think we lose next Elder or next Baron on this game, and the game goes like for 25 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
Just because I'll be making some stupid mistakes every time.
Yeah, and again, I think we've kind of figured out, you know, a lot of the reason for that and like how to solve that, I think. But I mean, this is, again, the mechanics are good. Like, this engage, you know, it's very good. Yeah, I think you still kill. I mean, killing 2 even if you die is pretty fine. Might not die though, yeah.
Like, don't even die on this one. That was good.
Dude, you've lived on 1 HP like 7 times, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But this one, like, this is a good choice. Like, I don't mind you going in there. You saw a really good angle to go in. And also, the other thing is, on this decision here, there were no objectives up. So, like, you dying also wasn't nearly as big of a deal if you did die. So it's also like timing your riskiness is also kind of important.
Mm.
But like out of here too, out of base or out
I,
of the fight, go top, right? Like there's a top turret to be taken, but you're just
yeah,
going
and I
for a
think I
random
do
fight.
die here. Yeah, with
Yeah, you keep going even after that. Like that's crazy. There's a top turret you could have taken. You could have done so much. Like there's no way you're gonna end at this HP. It just like doesn't make sense. So like we, and then she just kills
Also,
her random.
what's that range? I don't get how to
Yeah.
avoid MFQ.
Don't stand in front
I
of
thought,
minions. That's all.
oh my god! But if I stand behind two minions, her Q should go back on the first minion, right, instead of me,
It
or
depends on
what?
the angle it's shot at, basically.
Uh,
I mean, I'm not exactly sure if it like I don't know if like if there's two directly lined up next to each other and then you're right behind it, if it prioritizes you or if it goes straight to the minion. I would think it would go to the minion, but I assume they were kind of like to the side of each other and so it still went to you. I mean, I don't really care about that part as much as I just care about the over aggressing in a spot that didn't really
yeah,
like
should have
nothing
gone top side long ago.
yeah, and even you could have even recalled too. Is the other thing. Like we have the inhibs at this point, and it doesn't matter. Like we've killed 3 inhibs, it should be basically impossible to lose. But like I said, it's the habits for the games that are slightly closer. Like the last game, that game was entirely losable, and then we got pretty lucky with some of the things that happened. So even here, like just do the objective. Like it's not that big of a deal to get this random 1 kill. We're just like we're chasing so hard. Like I'm not necessarily mad at like I'm not even telling you that that's like a bad choice to go for that kill. What I'm telling you is all you ever think about is the fight. Like you're never just like let me grab the dragon then get the fight. I just want you making a consistent play, even to a bit of a like to a bit of an extreme degree for a period of time to make it more of a habit. I want you like always prioritizing the consistent play. In the long run, I do think like, obviously I want you to sometimes take those risky plays, but anytime that you notice basically that you're 3, 5, 6K gold ahead as a team, I want you to try to get into this mindset of just like the very consistent safe play. And then, once you like feel like you really kind of have that as an actual habit of like prioritizing not throwing games, then you can start being a bit more reasonable in terms of like sometimes going for the more aggressive play. But yeah, I mean, it's just a balance that you have to find and it kind of just comes with time. So I do think we have most of the things here. We'll see what else we can find, but for the most part, I think.
Yeah, I think you can go straight to the Elder because I think it's in Elder that I just throw out the game.
I mean, if we look at the death, like we'll see if this is.
Yeah.
It's probably just the same thing as what you do in all these other. Yeah.
Yeah, that ult was really bad.
Yeah, and again, it's just like that was a more reasonable one where your team was at least in the position to like follow up, but in that case, again, no reason to go into 4 people right away without our teammates engaging, right? And then it leads to, I assume.
Oh, I need you to comment on this. So Trash is starting the Elder.
Yeah.
And our team is still behind. So in my head, I was okay. I will just back them off by poking them, but it just ended up. It's a disaster, complete disaster.
Oh yeah, this was completely your fault. 100%. Their jungler is Aatrox. He's dead for 7 seconds. You should 100% just be prioritizing the objective. There's no way they should ever steal this. They don't even have like Orianna or Varus, so it's not like they're gonna steal it from you. So no, just stay on this. Just hit this. You zoning them makes no sense because what are you zoning for? Like nobody's gonna steal this from you. Who would steal this from you?
Yeah, MF could have, but she's not even here. That's right.
Yeah, and I mean Misfortune's also like the thing about Misfortune is the same as Morgana. Morgana and Misfortune are only good at stealing objectives because people panic. Misfortune, it doesn't do enough DPS so quickly that like it's gonna one-shot the objective. So if you just wait till you actually see the number go to 800, you're gonna be able to react in time. Same with Morgana. It's not like an Orianna that one-shots it, you know what I mean, or a Varus who one-shots it. So you don't even actually have to be worried about it. But yeah, Misfortune's not there as well anyway, and their jungler is not alive. So the reason, yeah, what's up?
What I was saying, should I have just hit the Elder, or should I have also waited for Tristana and to come and Heimerdinger to come?
You could have just hit it because, like, again, nobody was really threatening you. The enemy jungle was dead, so you could have flipped it. If the enemy jungle was alive, then I would tell you to just like not go on it. But
okay,
because enemy jungle was dead and there was no real threat of it getting stolen, you could stay on it, and then just like E out if that went on you or something.
Okay.
Well, you would probably E to dodge RE charm, realistically, would be what you do your E for. But yeah, pretty much just that. So again, it's also just, yeah, it's like the panic thing, right? It's like, if we actually just ask ourselves, what's the goal of that situation? Your goal was obviously to get Elder and then end the game through getting Baron. If that's your goal, then you would prioritize Elder if you knew you could get Elder. And you knew you could get Elder because the enemy jungle was dead and they had no ways of stealing it, and because your teammates were about to come. So you just hit it a bit, you make sure that you're, you know, avoiding the engage range, and then you're just completely chilling. So. And then also you're fighting an Elder, bro. Like, this is stupid as hell. You're fighting against an enemy with Elder. Luckily, yeah, I mean, I was gonna say luckily you don't die, but then Teemo trap.
I do that, yeah.
But yeah, we're fighting an Elder. So again, once again, what is your goal once they have Elder here?
Just push waves.
Yeah, you just stall the game.
And protect in more than Baron.
Because like, look how many turrets you have. Their Elder's almost gone, right? Their Elder's almost gone. Like 20 seconds. Like, again, it's blurry, but it's like 20 seconds. You have like 6 turrets up. There's no real way that they're going to just end the game in like 2 seconds, even if they got the Baron, because they're not going to have Elder. And if they only have Baron, they don't have Elder, they're not going to end off it. They're just going to get like a couple turrets. So you can just wait for the next Elder Baron to come up and then prioritize that. But when you go in and you know, fight and you do whatever you're doing here, now it gives you a chance to lose the game, because now you're losing Elder and Baron, and then you're dead, so you can't protect. So you understand, again, every time I ask you a question, you pretty much know you're just not asking yourself this in the game, and then you lose Baron. And you somehow win this game too?
I do win this. I do win this game, but
you're the king
you're
the king of throwing and then winning after throwing the game for no reason. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I get focused once again once I'm losing.
Yeah, once you realize it. Yeah, but sometimes it's like too late. Then like you realize it too late. And
usually it's just too late and just lose.
Yeah, but in these cases, you know, at least we do end up coming back at some point, which is good. And like at this point, I don't mind just like hovering mid, and then I guess you just find a really good engage. And like again, this is kind of what you need to do when you're behind, right? So at this point, you are behind, and so then it's like now we look for that maybe crazy wombo combo play, and that's how we win, and then you do win off it. So this is how you could be playing once we're behind, or once the game is hard. But yeah, and I assume you get. I don't know, you can take us. Okay, maybe you just forgot to put lantern. But yeah, then you end. Okay, so we'll write notes. I think the notes are pretty straightforward in terms of what we'll focus on, because we've talked about a lot of the other things. And then, like I said, most of the gameplay is fine. I'm gonna write that it's jungle specifically. So first thing is prioritize. That's not how you spell prioritize. Whatever. Full clear, then gank. Well, I guess worded a bit better. As Yone. God, now it autocorrects to 1. Won't let me type. Okay. As Yone, we want to path in an avoidant way early game. So if enemy jungle are on same scuttle as us, we can usually give it and recall, right? Then go other scuttle. You remember the first situation we're talking about, right? Like
with Vi.
Yeah, so basically just that. Value avoidant pathing a bit more in the early game. When choosing pathing, try to path towards safer lanes. So like I said, you know, that Garen's a bit safer, like Teemo's not gonna fuck you up. Whereas Set Misfortune could, you know, be a lot harder. And trying to path away from enemy jungle. So that's like the thing about pathing. And then value farming, then ganking, especially so we can be in a position to instantly start an objective. So basically it's like full clear, scuttle, you know, that's like the first point, right? Full clear, scuttle. That's our first kind of round of things. Then maybe we find a gank after that. Then after that, we do a full clear again. And then after the full clear, probably recall into go to the side of the map you want to go to the objective of, and then you'll gank that one time. So that's 2 ganks. 2 ganks is a pretty solid amount to get within 5 minutes as a Yone with a really slow clear speed. If we get more than 2 ganks, we're probably losing out on too much gold. And so it's again about the timing of your ganks for the most part. Then, just key questions to ask. So I'm just going to write the different questions. So the first one is, at 4 minutes, which, I don't know why it did give me like a weird hyperlink. Whatever.
Yeah.
At 4 minutes, which objective do I want? And do I need to recall, basically? Second question I want you asking yourself, at 11 minutes, what do I need to do to be ready for Baron? Which again could be farm a camp or a side of the map, then recall. Could be quickly go for a gank on an outer side, whatever.
Yep.
And then the third question is, before engaging,
Where are my teammates?
yeah, where are my teammates? Exactly. So those are really the three main things. Just, I want you, again, I would say that's the most important point of anything that we've talked about. So even if it helps, because you said again the lack of focus is a big thing, maybe just look at these notes before each game or something like that, or just tell yourself those are the three questions. Like if you verbally tell yourself, or in your head you say it out loud, right? Like that's a lot easier. Whereas if you just rely on yourself kind of remembering that, you just kind of like, you forget it half the time. So like for you,
Absolutely.
more than actually getting better at something, it's about doing the same thing each game, where instead of like half the time you're really focused, half the time you're not. Then if we are winning mid game and have all of our camps cleared and there is no objective, then play around
Turrets.
no play around the side of the map that has an outer turret alive. Because remember, we're trying to take the outer turrets then at that point. You remember?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing. Like if there's no objective, there's nothing to do basically. Whatever's the easiest turret, probably where we're gonna play around. Then just basically generally be more aggro or risky when behind, and more safe and consistent when ahead.
Yeah.
If each team, what's up?
No, finish. Sorry.
Yeah, if each team has one drag, only fight third drag. If we will win the fight, so if we are stronger. But yeah, what's up?
I was saying, your question, so I can keep my focus, is that asking myself, what is my plan for the next minute?
Yeah, basically. That's essentially, yeah. Just constantly trying to plan. So we can also just write that like here. Just keep trying to make plans for the next minute or so. So like this is actually something that I had an issue with a lot, was I would throw games or I would do these types of things. And for me, I got kind of lucky where like, since I'm coaching people, I have to always explain my thought process. So I just naturally like start to think these things, right? But it pretty much came to that where it's like, now I'm actively saying in my head, like, what do I want to do for this next minute? I'm always trying to make a plan for what I think is going to happen. And then at this point in my stream now, like people watch and then you'll hear me say like, I will literally just fucking predict exactly what will happen, because I have coached so many people that are like Master Peak, Grandmaster Peak, whatever, and I'll have them on my team because that's how being sovereign works. And then I'll just tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'll tell you, okay, my teammate, my jungler is going to go to the wrong side of the map because we're 11:30. He's still on the wrong side. The enemy are going to sneak to Baron. We're going to lose the game, like this and that. And I just know exactly what's going to happen. And at that point, it's just like, I've seen it so many times. It's pretty much the same sequence that's followed by all of these players who lose games. So,
That's me.
yeah. I mean, I do it sometimes too. It's not like I never do it either.
Yeah.
Because actually, that's what my video I just made today, and that comes out in like 3 days or whatever. Is pretty much.
When I'm watching your stream and I can and I witness this type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Can
the
predict
video is like
and
me talking about me doing that. Like I'm showing a game where I'm making these same mistakes, where I'm walking
Yeah.
up on dumb play. Like it happens. Everyone does it. Okay. What other things? I would just say patience in general as well. This is a pretty straightforward thing, but a lot of times in fights you go in and really unnecessarily risky things. And I would just say opposite side of map when behind. This was more something we talked about, not an example from these games because you were ahead in these games. But when you're behind, you play around the opposite side of the map a lot more, which is kind of similar to avoidant pathing in early game, because when you're weaker early game is like a Yone, you're trying to be avoidant. Anything else we talked about, or questions, or just anything else?
I just have one question about point 7. Usually my team just start Drake without their jungler, and
Yeah.
I can say give Drake, they won't. So should I just ignore and go on the opposite side,
It
or
depends on the case. So like if your team is going to Dragon and you know that if you go there you're gonna die because like say you're down 5,000, you're down 10,000, you know it's a shit fight, right? It's better for one person to be alive than nobody alive, so you should just not go. If it's a case where you're down like 2k gold and it's completely reasonable that you maybe win that fight and you know your team's going there and there's no stopping them, then go with them because there's a chance you win the fight. So you might as well try. If you're ahead, then definitely go. That makes sense?
okay, okay.
So I'll write if we're stronger or close to even, basically. Because at least if we're close to even. Yeah. Anything else or any other questions? Anything like that?
I think we got it all. It's pretty clear.
Okay.
Pretty
Oh wait.
straightforward.
Last thing. Stop buying Magnetron. Unless you want to have fun, but in terms of like actually winning, stop doing that.
Yeah, QSS.
Yeah.
QSS would be a lot more
So
useful.
I'll send these to you, and then I'll see you later.
Okay, thank you very much, Talon. See you next time.